all right. We haven't seen the hand. Nick has that Eevee opening, which, as we talked about with the Jolteon, assuming it's not prized or in his hand, he could have a pretty powerful opening with some spreading and kind of just going in with that Jolteon.
Yeah. It's nice for Andrew to start the Jirachi because he's probably not going to take a turn one.
Keep going by searching all of these consistency cards that can help him.
Right,
roll through.
Another thing I noticed looking at Andrew plays a judge.
Oh,
so he's got a little bit of shuffle draw to try to reset Nick's hand.
Yep.
If Nick seems like he's just going all in on stuff. Now, Nick gets Zepstrika set up. Probably doesn't matter.
Yep.
But he can kind of stop a little bit of Nick just like growing his hand size with tons of Stellar Wishes, which is what everybody's trying to do in these matchups.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, like, that judge is just, it's so good for being able to do things like that. But it's interesting to see, like, I feel like Judge has been favored in Zoroark almost exclusively because they have Palpad, they have Trade, they play more Lele's. But, neither one of these decks are playing Lele. They don't have a ton of draws, so it's kind of like weird to access the Judge. I'd be interested to hear why he chose that over a Marshadow.
Right.
Whereas you can search that with an Ultra Ball.
Right. And it isn't like these decks are strapped for bench space.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, generally speaking, most of these Zapdos decks got tons of bench space.
Maybe it is just the popularity of Muk.
Right.
Like maybe he's like, I want to disrupt Zoroark decks. That's like a big thing he wants to hurt with the disruption, and he just assumes that he'll be mucked by the Zoroark decks.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the interesting things about the Zepstrika choices. Obviously, both of these guys anticipated people playing lots of heavy muck to counter, and they're like, oh, we're going to get there. With Strika, we're going to draw in cards, we're going to keep finding resources turn after turn.
Yep. Seems like there's, just get moving. All right, so it looks like, Mahone is getting, cool. So we've got Nick taking the cut here. He's
going to try to wake up from sleep, and it's Nick's turn.
Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, all things considered, that was a pretty great turn one from Mahone. I mean, he got 2 Jirachis into play, got one of them sported, he got 2 of the Zapdos. He got kind of all the Pokemon he would want.
Right. So this is an interesting decision. He decided to put the Zapdos up, but if Nick's able to retreat the Zapdos, he can Energy Evolve the Eevee and take a knockout.
Maybe Mahone is thinking, at this point in the game, he finds, like, the Jirachis sort of staying around more valuable because it can get him more cards.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one that he's invested the escape board in. He's like, I don't want you to kill that thing quite yet.
Yep.
Although I guess he's going second, so he could also just pop out a Zapdos and kill the Jirachi if he wanted to. He's got a million ways to get there this time.
Cool. So we see the Shrine come down. We see a Choice Band onto that Eevee. Nick's got the Cynthia here. The Shrine is, like getting that out of your hand, out of your deck. There's only a couple of GXs between the two of these individuals, and I don't think that, the Jolteon could make a splash, but sort of like that, the fact that it's 2 prizes may end up being more of a liability than anything. So maybe Nick's just throwing that in play, putting something on the Eevee, and he's like, I'm just going to let that sit there.
Right.
Maybe something he can throw up when an escape rope comes, kind of a deal.
He's got the Zapdos, he's got the energy, he's got any number of ways to attack here.
Oh, he's got the Absol.
I was just going to ask you about this. He's the only one playing Absol in this matchup. How much of an impact do you think that might have on the mirror? It could be big.
It's got to be big, right? I mean, it just makes their escape boards essentially useless. Like, I mean, not like useless, but it just cancels out Absol, so they're not.
Right?
They don't have free retreat anymore. They just have less retreat.
He went to all the trouble to save that Jirachi because like the Jirachi has the escape board. He's like, nah, you're still gonna have to attach to retreat.
Yeah. I mean, I think that might be something we end up seeing making a big deal in this game.
I feel like that could have a big impact because when you look at the like nature of how the mirror works, that inability to retreat. Yeah, I mean that means Andrew has fewer switch effects in his deck relative to what Nick's got.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like the escape boards are no longer like a free movement, sort of thing.
Right.
They just have to do a little more work when they're getting those down.
Yeah. And Nick's gonna keep setting up. We're gonna see where his board state gets to.
So Nick's got
We have
the
a little bit of technical difficulties, so we're looking over at another screen on the other side of.
Nick's got
the wall.
the Zapdos up in the
Yeah.
act. It looks like he got
He's gonna bring the Zapdos up and pop the Jirachi.
good stuff. So okay, we cool.
Or I'm sorry, he bopped the Zapdos. He retreats the Zapdos into the other Zapdos.
Wait. So Nick hit that Zapdos for 80.
Yeah.
With his Zapdos. They don't. Do they not know it's weak to lightning? Oh, Zapdos doesn't hit for weakness. Zapdos doesn't hit for weakness. I forgot about that.
Oh,
Okay.
learning new things every day.
No, yeah. I definitely forgot about
Alright.
that. For like a second, I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, the mirror match doesn't play quite like that,
Yeah.
right? Where it's just like Zapdos Wars. That's good card design because nobody wants more Mewtwo Wars.
Right.
That's the worst thing in the format.
Because I was kind of, I was still thinking about the Jolteon was part of it.
Yeah, the
But
Jolteon is how you do
Jolteon would
that
hit
thing.
for weakness, yeah.
Right.
But the Zapdos does not.
Yeah. Having said this, so now he's set up to have a double Zapdos turn if he attacks with Jolteon, right? Because he can
that's
put
true.
30 on the bench.
Yeah.
Take out 2 Zapdoses.
That actually, that's insane.
That's a really nice play by Nick to kind of set this up. You can tell he's actually tested the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he seems like he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's got the Absol. Like, he clearly came into this event thinking about the Zapdos Jirachi mirror match.
Right. He's ready for the Zoroark decks because he's got the Blitzel. He's ready for this mirror match. He's got Absol, and he's got the Jolteon tech.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, Tapu Koko Prism hits the board. Probably gonna just get the energy acceleration off. I would be interested to know. Actually, it probably doesn't. I'm thinking, does the Tapu Koko Prism Star's ability activate Energy Evolution? But I'm pretty sure Energy Evolution says specifically from the hand.
Yeah. So he whiffed a way to retreat the Jirachi. And more importantly, he whiffed energy.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's why he got the Coco, so that he could have access to the energy later when he wanted it. But just the Jirachi was stuck. So looks like Mahone's got a Guzma eyeballing all kinds of stuff on Nick's board. Maybe he's thinking that he'll take the Jirachi for, to avoid that snipe play.
Yeah. I mean, you could target down the Eevee.
So, see an energy hit that Zapdos. Okay.
So if you're either party, if you draw into Thunder Mountain, do you just play it? And does it stick the rest of the game?
So, I mean, they can bump it with Shrine of Punishment.
Yeah, like you could bump it. Like it's an interesting thing because I recognize both parties would be like, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah. I'm sure it just it depends on you would only play it if it's helping you, right? You wouldn't kind of just arbitrarily throw it down without getting value out of it immediately, because then it could give your opponent something crazy they can do.
Nick throws away his Blitzel because he says, "Okay, I'm not worried about that. There's no muck coming out this game."
Yep. So he's looking through the deck.
Yeah, I assume if you're Nick, you don't want the Thunder Mountain in play, because if the Thunder Mountain's in play, then Andrew can use the energies to retreat his Jirachis, and instead of having to use the energies to power up his Pokemon.
That makes sense. So looks like Nick's eyeballing that second Jirachi. Yeah. So he got rid of the Blitzel because he's like, I just need something else in play right now to get me some more.
Yeah.
Some
You just want to Stellar Wish your way there, right?
That's definitely what he wants.
Yeah. Gonna free up a bench spot by throwing the Tapu Koko away. And we powered up the Zapdos.
Okay, so he's only got one Lightning in there and going for the Zapdos. Maybe, I guess he must have prized the Jolteon to not even consider going after it. Or maybe he's just drawing that bad.
He hasn't found energy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is, I would say, we talked about this before the show. I mean, Andrew's running Energy Lotto, Nick is not.
Yeah.
Energy Lotto, I like that card in this deck. It's funny, I've been giving people grief ever since they printed that card. Nabil Hyatt, who was on stream earlier, is always telling me he loves Energy Lotto, and I was always like, why wouldn't you just put an energy in?
Yeah.
But with Stellar Wish, Energy Lotto is fantastic.
Yeah, if you're playing just any way that can search items, it just sort of opens up more options for your deck. Decks that are playing Volkner, playing Ninetales, playing Jirachi, anything that can search an item, that's you'd want something like that.
It's like putting Professor's Letter in Karina decks.
Yep, exactly.
When Donphan was the thing, right?
Exactly.
All of a sudden you have it out to other cards in your deck. It's fantastic.
Yep. Yep. So Andrew is nest balling for that Blitzel. It looks like he just has a lot more bench space than Nick does currently. So maybe he's he's like, oh, I can afford to just take up space with this extra draw, and Nick doesn't. So there is the Stellar Wish.
Figuring out what the play is. What was your cards, Andrew? Look like a gold blower.
I did see a Guzma in there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not a blower because he does not run blower. What
He
heck
gets
was
the
that
Energy
card?
Lotto.
Energy Lotto.
Your card.
There you go, people. This is the kind of quality commentating that gets people watching critically at TCG. How will he retreat that Jirachi? Energy Lotto.
All right, so we see it come down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Did
Nothing.
he whiff it? Oh
He
my
did.
god, that's brutal.
Nothing off that Energy Lotto.
Energy Lotto's a terrible card.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think he had a decent amount of energy in his deck too. I think we've only seen him play 2 so far. So there, you know, prizes of course.
And he runs one more energy than Nick.
He does. He runs.
Although I mean,
and
Nick
the Lotto.
Nick
yeah.
has had a brutal energy whiff previously, so.
Yep, that's very true. All right, so we see the Guzma. And Mahone, eyeing down that Absol, realizing it's causing him some grief, decides, you know what?
Electropower it.
We're done. We're done with this here. Good stuff. So stretching back his Zapdos immediately. And the knockout.
That's an interesting decision to stretcher the Zapdos. For me, I wonder if you would hold that. I mean, Mahone only plays 3 Zapdos. I wonder if you would hold it, because if he knocks out this Zapdos this turn, you can stretcher 2 back into deck.
Maybe he's just,
I wonder what you need the Zapdos for right now that makes you want to play that stretcher.
I could see an argument for holding the stretcher versus just not playing at all, but I think the argument for like getting it back and putting it in play versus shuffling is because he's already at 3 prizes. Maybe he just wants to make sure that he has those attackers.
Right. He's got enough to run go the distance already.
Exactly. So he just needs to get them into play.
Right.
You know, maybe he's afraid Nick will have an in or a judge or some kind of hand disruption and just wants to, you know, get it out of the way.
Right. Would hate to not have played the stretcher when he had it in hand.
Exactly. Or, you know, maybe Nick could like play a field blower, and if that move gets the escape board gone, then suddenly Mahone has to put up a Jirachi without necessarily having a switch card. You know, this gives him the option to be able to put a Zapdos up.
Right.
So, you know, if he wanted to.
And immediately top deck Zapdos.
There we go. Good stuff. Right, so throws the choice band down, drops the Cynthia. I mean, Mahone just got to kind of not miss. And, you know, he's definitely ahead in the exchange. You know, he can... I think he's still got some Electro Powers left.
Yeah, he needs a Lightning and Electro Power this turn to kind of keep on tempo, right?
Yep, exactly. So, I mean...
Yeah, that shouldn't be hard to hit. That's in the deck.
Yeah. I mean, he does need to hit a switch card as well, because Nick did put the Absol back into play. So, you know, the Jirachi does still have 1 retreat cost, so he's going to need a way to move that in addition to the Lightning Energy and an Electro Power to take a knockout.
He's debating taking the switch card versus the supporter. Right.
He got the Thunder Mountain, so maybe if he hit like a switch card, because I didn't see an energy in his hand. So maybe like now would be a time he plays the Thunder Mountain because he's actually like using it as soon as he has it. All right, so it's wild to see how good Electro Power became so quickly.
Yeah. I mean, all of a sudden you print a bunch of amazing lightning Pokemon, and all of a sudden people are on the train, right?
Yep, exactly.
Electro Power, it's fantastic.
Wonder if he attaches that choice band. No.
That's just just like Energy Lotto, all of a sudden, you print, you make Jirachi super powered, and people are like, I should play a card that lets me get energy off
Yep, exactly.
deck searches for some trainers.
All right, Nick. For Nick, first, first thing he's doing is he's using that Jirachi's ability.
Yeah.
I saw like 5 supporters in those cards.
Yeah. I wonder what he's digging for. Let's look at his hand. A lot of energy.
The Electro Power. Okay.
All right.
So he's clearly thinking about getting his Zapdos knockout here.
Yeah.
So it's on his mind.
Yeah. Doesn't look like he found that Jolteon that we assume is prized yet.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe now we're about to find it.
All right.
Maybe he was waiting for like a Shrine of Punishments to leave.
Oh, he did find the Jolteon.
Okay,
prizes.
got it.
All right.
Got it. Yep.
Hiding in the back. This is the good play right here.
Puts it on the Zapdos. Okay, I mean, I guess it lets the Zapdos just get a clean knockout without needing Electro Power next, which is great.
Right. Right. Yeah, he can just take a clean knockout with his Zapdos next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Although obviously, I think what he'd like to do with Thunder Mountain on the board is, like, get an energy attached and GX attack and be invulnerable next turn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Although these decks play so many escape ropes and Guzmas, there's a lot of you can try to reset that pretty easily, right?
Yeah. Like I'm sure that it doesn't stick that hard.
Yeah. That's a
invincibility.
soft one in this matchup because, as we talked about, people play handfuls of escape ropes now.
Yep. Then I'm sure they could just escape rope Guzma in the same turn.
Yeah. That's not a hard reach for any of these decks.
Okay, so Mahone pondering about what he's got next. So he's got a Choice Band. He's got there's an Ultra Ball he's about to play. I don't think he's used the Jirachi yet, so I guess maybe he wants to thin his deck of like a Pokemon before he does anything.
I mean, a Pokemon's something you can't get off the Stellar Wish. I think that's the correct play, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think he was just like struggling too much with what he would actually discard.
Yeah. So let me see what it will get, and then I'll know what to discard. Maybe I'll draw something some trainer I don't like, and I'll just discard that.
So we see Stretcher and Guzma in Mahone's hand. The Guzma gets him around the Jolteon, to pick a Jirachi off. But the sort of caveat with that is, then at one prize he has to be able to get around the Jolteon again. So if he can get around the Jolteon twice, I think that playing that would be great. But it seems like it could also be a little too tough to get around it twice, and maybe he just commits to trying to make that Jolteon his last 2 prizes.
Yeah.
So there we see that Ultra Ball coming down that he was looking at earlier.
To get his EV out and Energy Evolve.
Mm-hmm. So there's his Jolteon.
Yeah.
Like both players are going in with the Jolteons here. I didn't see a switch card in his hand, but I mean he could also just switch off to the Zapdos and do 110, just to sort of soften it up.
Yeah, he's really trying to sequence it out here. You can tell he's thinking about his play.
So you see, there's the Choice Band coming down. Lily? Okay.
Lily.
Oh, okay. Lily's instead of the Guzma, yeah.
Yeah, he's digging for the switch card.
Yep. He went for the switch card instead of playing the Guzma. It looks like he missed it.
Yeah.
Did not get the... All right, so I think this is the first time the Absol has caused Mahone to miss. I guess he's just had to burn through too many switches so far to keep the Absol from causing him problems. And
yeah, well, and how did he make room for the Judge and the other stuff? I mean, he only plays 2 escape ropes, so he's like plays a little bit less switch effects, I think.
He plays 4 switch and 2 escape rope.
That's true. The up the switch count, cut the escape rope count slightly.
He plays the same amount of like escape rope / switches as Nick, but Nick plays 1 more escape board.
Right.
So there we go. All right, so this could be Nick's opening to try to get his way back into the game.
Yeah, he grabs the Electro Power so he can zap the Zapdos.
Mm-hmm. See, this is what I mentioned it, I think, last turn, but I thought that putting the 30 on the Zapdos was strange, considering like because he already has like the Jolteon
Right.
going.
It's not
He does have a Zapdos. Okay, so if he's gonna use it here, then that's better. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he uses the Thunder Mountain and he keeps investing in the Jolteon.
Mm-hmm. See, I thought he was gonna use the Jolteon this turn.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he could because he could have sniped the Blitzel by now if he put the
Right.
the 230s on that. All right. Nest Ball immediately comes down. Eyeing that Coco.
Yeah. So what's the line of play here?
I mean,
the Coco.
he's got to be just going for Jolteon's GX attack, right?
Yeah.
I think he's just got to...
Yeah, you're trying to wall.
Because it does 110.
Right.
So he can just take out the Zapdos, and we know he's sitting on that Guzma. He's been sitting on it for a minute now.
Right.
Maybe if he has the... Oh, there's the Jirachi.
So do you just bop the Zapdos, or do you... What do you target here? Are you going after the Jolteon?
I think it would be fine to bop the Zapdos, because then you can Guzma around the Jolteon next turn.
Yeah. I mean, anything's an out, right?
Yep, exactly. Alright, so the Coco Lost Zones, one Lightning, Jolteon. Alright, we got only one Lightning in Nick's discard. Two on the Jolteon.
I think is he trying to check whether or not the Thunder Mountain's going to get knocked out?
Maybe.
Like, do I put on the Jolteon or do I put on the Jirachi so it's a retreater?
Yep.
Right.
So it looks like he's just going for the attackers, not playing any games here. I mean, if he's going to do 110, okay, taking up the Jirachi. Maybe he's like, that thing's just skateboarded. Like, I don't want him to have an easy,
Right. No pivots.
Yep. So him going in with the Guzma right there, I mean, at least to me, it tells me that I would think, if I were Nick, it's like, okay, well, he has another one.
Yeah. Well, so Nick's planning on playing a Guzma this turn anyway, so he just puts the Jirachi up.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I can always, if things go totally off the rails after I Guzma, I can retreat the Jolteon.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. So, Nick's just taking a look here, seeing what he can get done. Finds a Cynthia. Zapdos.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. There's the rope we were talking about earlier that can get
Yeah.
around, the Jolteon GX. All right. It looks like we might see a GX from Nick.
I mean, this is the challenge for Nick where he has no hand disruption. I mean, you would like to reset Andrew's hand.
Yep. Yeah. Like, this would be the perfect opportunity to use the judge. If you had
like
it.
you're dying to judge him here, right?
Yep. Exactly.
And I recognize he has a pile of Jirachis on the bench, but you would love to be like, just make it a little harder.
Make it a little harder, absolutely. Yeah. There's a GX from Nick. Mahone moving very quickly.
He knows he's got this.
It's a man with a purpose.
Let's go.
Yep,
Okay.
Yep. All right, and Andrew Mahone taking the first game in 25 minutes, a little bit longer than we thought it might be. Let's see. Mahone missed a couple. There's like the one turn where he missed the switch card. Nick had a bit of a weird start, missing energy and all that other fun stuff.
I felt like that last turn, maybe if you're Nick, you feel pressure to try to YOLO a little more and say, hey, we're going to try to find double electro power choice band and like knock out that Jolteon to
Just
get
go
the
for it.
prices. Yeah, there's no alternative, whereas instead he used Cynthia's and like, I don't know. Man, I recognize that takes a lot of pieces. Maybe he was like, I just don't have those pieces, so I'm going to have to play the Cynthia Sporter.
Yeah.
But that was rough.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe Mahone sort of like thinking that is Nick's out. That's why he took out the Jirachi with the skateboard. He's like, I don't want you to have as many cards that you can dig for.
Yeah. So the Absol, definitely an asset in the mirror. I felt like one of the things I learned from that is Absol's good in the mirror, but not that didn't overcome, I think, like, not drawing super great.
Like, there was only one turn where it actively caused Mahone to miss something.
Yeah.
I would say that throughout the game, there were a lot of times where you'd put up the one with the escape warp, then you have to switch. If that one of the escape worked for your tree, you could go back to the other Jirachi and then switch.
Right.
So it's cutting those Jirachis in half throughout the turns, and it did cause him to miss an attack once. So,
Right.
it's pretty good. I mean, I guess that the real value in it is cutting the Jirachi usage in half, sort of like what we just pointed out, in that they don't get all those free pivots, so they don't get 2 Jirachis every turn.
Yeah.
Maybe it causes them to miss an attack, but that's the real value, right?
Yeah. I felt like another thing I think I learned was both people seemed fine with Thunder Mountain just sticking.
Yeah.
Once Thunder Mountain came out, they were like, okay, that's great.
Sure, yeah. I mean, they're both fine to attack for free. Mahone has a little more energy, so maybe there's maybe at some point he wants to get rid of it because he knows that Nick is low on energy or something like that.
See, I think I would have thought that Nick would be trying to put pressure on Andrew to have to attach energies to retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, part of the magic there is if you have the Absol, you should be able to put pressure. But we never really saw that. I mean, it wasn't like he ever attached an energy to Jirachi to retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Never happened.
He didn't. Yeah. I mean, there's also maybe Nick, because he played the first shrine and then Mahone played the Thunder Mountain. So maybe Nick just never saw the second shrine either.
Yeah. Who
knows? Good stuff. So it looks like Nick told Mahone to go first. It looks like. Wow.
This is the clearly I think he thinks going second matters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, he's just maybe. No, because you pick before you draw your hand, right?
Yeah.
So he just, without looking at his hand or anything, was just like, nah, you're going first.
Yeah. He's like, I won't prize Jolteon this time.
Yeah.
We're gonna energy evolve Jolteon and pop you right out of the gate. Let's go.
Exactly. Good stuff. All right, Mahone kind of popping off a little bit here. These 4 Nest Ball really showing that he can fish all these Pokemon out real quick. I mean, that's the beauty of Nest Ball, is you can just play it. You don't have to discard cards, so it's really easy to play a bunch of them.
Yeah, and with Jirachi, I mean, the fact that it's not when you play it from your hand to the bench, that's how you kind of activate the powers, which is something that's so common in Pokemon.
Yep.
The ability to get more cards in your hand and develop your board without having to play it from your hand makes Nest Ball sweet.
Yeah, absolutely.
The people be loving it.
That they are. So Andrew grabbed that Cynthia. Yeah, he's probably just gonna throw the fact that the Coco can just discard itself at any point is just, it's never bad sitting there.
Mia, that's interesting. I feel like the Tapu Koko is a target, and I'm loath to bench it.
Really?
But yeah, I always feel like if I were Nick now, what I would want is Zapdos Electro Power, kill the Coco, because that slows down his energy. That takes away all his
options. You need 2 Electro Powers because it's kind of big.
Yeah,
it has 130. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that because it just stops this free acceleration that they have.
Yeah, I'm I don't want to let you do that.
Yeah, makes sense. Oh, Mahone with another Nest Ball. He's got that Energy Lotto.
It's worse in Pikarom though. I feel like in Pikarom when you bench it early, people are like, oh, I need to kill that thing because you're gonna do something to me.
Yeah. I would agree that it's significant. It's much more important. They rely on it a lot more. Whereas in this deck, it's just nice. It's great to have.
Yeah, I mean you have 1 energy attacker, so
exactly.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm. But Pikarom can just do some insane things by getting those energies back and moving them around and whatnot.
Yeah.
So Mahone getting the Eevee out. 2 Jirachi, 2 Zapdos, an Eevee.
Yeah.
What else does he need?
Yeah. Nick lets Andrew go first, and Andrew sets up the perfect board state.
Yep. And the 7th card is the lightning off that.
Gets the lightning.
The 7th card. I wonder if he'll just go. Actually, I feel like going for the Jolteon immediately is a little sketchy because of both players play Shrine. They could just put it down. And
right. You don't want to just play Shrine and start smacking into you if you're not going to take advantage of the Jolteon first, right?
Exactly. So, if we saw he actually didn't even attach the energy. He just kept it.
Right.
He decided he didn't need to. Interesting. Nick gets a what looks like a Volkner off of that
You know,
Jirachi.
it looks like Andrew's hand is not super great. It looks like he has a Shrine, an Energy, and like he does not, and like a Choice Band and something else. But he's trying to keep his hand size up to be a
Guzman for
little
that
intimidating.
Eevee, Nick. Getting aggressive here. Just knowing just how important that Jolteon can be in this mirror match.
Yeah.
Decides he's going to take it. Right, so
Yeah, his hand is not good.
he has a switch and a lightning, so he can attack. I don't think he has the electro power. I see a choice band, but I don't see the electro power.
He'd like to find a supporter off this Stellar Wish. And he
No,
takes,
that's fine. It gets him a prize, and that's going to be what's most important is keeping up in the prize race.
Yeah, he's gonna
And
escape rope into the Jirachi.
and knocking out
Stellar Wish
Nick's
again,
only
so.
Jirachi is pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just gonna go for it and save the escape rope because his hand is kind of dead. He doesn't. He's like, I don't want to burn this in case I don't have anything else. Good stuff. So Nick putting that Zapdos up.
Yeah. Now Nick chose to go second. He's got to develop his board state a little more. He's gonna need to have a pretty good turn here.
He chose to go second, and he had a turn one Guzma, so he hasn't had any kind of just like draw support to help him get there.
I mean, Andrew just pulled Electro Power out of prizes, so Nick's gonna need to get some Pokemon down.
Yep, absolutely. So you see him drop that Volkner. He's eyeballing that Lightning Energy. The second card, that seems like something he's still working on.
Yeah.
I didn't see exactly what.
I'm assuming it's gonna be a Nest Ball because he needs Pokemon.
Yep,
And play the Nest Ball.
that makes sense. In that second Zapdos.
Yeah, I mean the fact that he has to get a second Zapdos instead of being able to grab a Jirachi tells you the board state's going to continue to be a little bit of a struggle here.
Yeah. I mean, Mahone getting that turn to just like put so many Pokemon into plays. I mean, it's clearly showing a much different sort of like reliability in how they're gonna be able to survive this game. Like with Nick, we're like struggling to think, oh, where's this gonna come from? How's he gonna find this? He doesn't have much stuff, but Mahone is just all sitting there, so he just needs less on his turns now because that's already there.
Yeah. So even though he didn't have a supporter last turn, it's been fine. He needs to find a supporter now, though. He's got to continue to evolve things a little bit.
So he drew the Electro Power off the prizes. So he has Thunder Mountain in hand, and we know he had Switch and Thunder Mountain from last turn, and he has the Electro Power off the prizes. So even if he doesn't get a supporter here, he can at least. Oh, and he did.
Oh yeah, no, he had a wave of supporters. He had his choice, and he was like, wow, which one do I want?
Heck yeah, he was. Well, it's good. I mean, I was like, he has a knockout, but now he has a knockout and a fresh hand.
Yeah, he's going to play down a bunch of these cards. He's going to get the chance probably to. So he's going to play the Electro Power. Do you switch into the Jirachi and Stellar Wish again, or do you switch right into the Zapdos?
I think switching into the Jirachi is a little greedy. Because I mean, like you like Jirachi a bunch. Yeah, you Jirachi a bunch to get to where you need to get a prize, right? That's the goal. Is at the end of every turn you need to take a prize, and that's you just need to win the game very quickly because the deck is so efficient that just once you're there isn't really a reason to take that risk because it could cause you to not get there. What do you discard? You see him get rid of the Shrine and
Electro Power?
No. Maybe it's a Jirachi. It looks a little silver.
Yeah, it could be. And he had a Jirachi from earlier that he didn't bench.
Good stuff. So, checking out the hand still. Choice Band coming down. There's the Thunder Mountain.
Yeah. I feel like Nick is wishing he had an extra turn to develop his board right now.
Like going first and
yeah. Going first, that's a thing. That would be a thing that you could do.
So Mahone playing the Cynthia, shuffle drawing. He's gonna get 6 off of this. I mean, yes, he does. He's not like looking for anything specific. If he gets a lightning, he'll probably put it on the bench Zapdos. But other than that, there isn't really anything else he'd do.
Right.
6. Boom. Maybe if he gets a stretcher, he'll get the Eevee back in Energy Evolution. There it is. All right, so
So what was that card at the top of Nick's hand there? Because I have to be honest, these full art cards are too blingy. I don't know what they are.
they're very difficult to see in the camera because they're all like just very like reflective, so it's hard to see what's on the cards.
You know what, I actually feel like I see them okay. I just have no idea what they are because my kids never own nice cards.
Interesting. He played the escape rope before he.
Attention, Pokemon players that are in the
Before he did anything else. That's.
9 through 16. Today's event 9 through 16, and you are a BG master.
I wonder
That's
why.
a Lily, all right.
Well, because he has to get the Zapdos onto the bench and onto the active this turn anyway. So I wonder why you don't put the Blitzel up.
Right.
You know. Because look, now he's got a switch and he's gonna rope.
Yeah, he could have played the escape rope last turn.
Yeah,
It would have been fine, right?
He would he burnt one more switch card than he needed to because he didn't bench the Blitzel first.
Right.
There's the Shrine Bump. And 80. And things are not looking good for Nick here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, whiffs the Electro Power off that Lily there, and is unable to take a knockout. And Andrew's got the Tapu Koko Prism Star out. Like, Andrew's not going to be the guy reaching for energy this game. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, and something that I've kind of noticed that Mahone's doing with that Tapu Koko Prism Star is really smart, actually, is he knows, he's clearly tested this mirror match a lot as well. He's aware that Escape Rope is huge in this matchup, because that's a big switching card for most of the decks. So the Tapu Koko Prism Star is kind of hard to knock out for Zapdos. They need 2 Electro Powers. So he keeps using it as this buffer for when Escape Rope comes. He's like, I throw this up. Good luck. And to either force him to burn more resources to get it or not get the knockout. And then that's when he can switch it to the bench and use the ability to accelerate energy and get, absorb an attack from Nick without giving up a prize.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So
Yeah.
Nick just doing 10 with the Thunder's
Nick's board
Assault.
state is just not where it needs to be for him to be able to pull this out.
Yeah, that is not, yeah. Oh, Mahone just with another Guzma.
Yeah, you were not going to find the cards you need here.
Yeah. So he's coming up with that Zapdos. It's already damaged. Took 80 from the last Thunderous Assault. Looks like he just wants to make sure, in case that Absol comes down or something, he's got a retreat.
Right.
He doesn't know where else to put the energy.
He's like, it's too easy.
Yep.
I'm not going to need more energies.
He got a Guzma off the prizes as well.
Oh my god, he must love that.
Yeah.
You all right?
Yep. Nick just seeming like he's just kind of one step behind this entire game here.
Yeah, so what is that card in the top? That's a Volkner.
It's a Volkner, and then I see a Guzma.
And then a Guzma.
I couldn't see sort of like the 4th card in.
There's a board, an Electro Power.
Good, so we see a skateboard.
Right. Energy right there on the bottom of the deck, and a Nest Ball because he needs more Pokemon. Plays the Nest Ball because he needs more Pokemon.
Good stuff. So you see the Zapdos coming down. He's got a Lightning that he can put on it.
Right.
I'm
You
not
can see he just played the Volkner.
Not sure if he has a switch card.
He's got the escape board. He's going to have to discard the energy off the Zapdos.
Yep.
Right.
It's coming out. And so he will take a prize here. Go down to 3.
Yeah. Andrew says, I don't have the escape board, but I got an energy on Jirachi last turn.
Close enough.
Yeah, but he's also got the Guzma in hand.
So, yeah, I guess, he's just going to get some extra cards with this Jirachi.
Yeah, he wants to find the Electro Power so he can knock out his Zapdos with the Guzma, right?
Yep, exactly. That's
Finds the Electro Power.
Yeah, I think we saw it in those 4 there.
Yeah. He'll be stunned if he doesn't grab the Electro Power. Grabs the Volkner. The Volkner will let him grab Electro Power, too.
Yep. He doesn't have another support in his hand, so he's like, I can get a Lightning Energy, too, and thin my deck of this Volkner.
Yeah.
You know, he's now pulling 3 cards total out of his deck instead of just the one electric power.
That is a great example for the kids at home of like pro play, right? Instead of grabbing the electro power, he grabs a Volkner to grab the electro power.
Exactly. It's like he knows he wants the electric power, and a lot of people might just, you know, I'm going to go for this.
Right. Right. I feel like every junior would be like, that electro power was the card I was looking for. I'm getting that electro power.
Yep.
But the master is like, I'm going to get the Volkner to get the electro power.
So we see him get a stretcher here. I guess maybe he already has electro power in his hand.
Yeah.
And we just haven't spotted it yet. We see him going for an Eevee. He decides he does want this Jolteon out this game. Something interesting about having that lightning on that Jirachi is it still can't retreat. Like, the reason it can retreat under sleeve normally is because that's what a skateboard lets you do.
Right, right.
You know?
Yeah, but he's getting Guzma around it anyway, right?
I think so.
Energy Evolve, Eevee, get the Jolteon out, play Guzma.
It looks like he will now. Yep. And then just GX and say, what do you got?
He might have a switch effect in hand, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny how, the skateboards were super popular in that gas can build, but now you're like, oh, that's why they printed a skateboard. So Jirachi would be ridiculously overpowered.
Right. All right, so the GX attack from Mahone makes this Jolteon invincible to everything except that Shrine of Punishment. Takes a little bit of 10 damage, but gets a knockout, puts him at 1 prize, and Nick is staring it down.
Yeah. Nick says, what can I bench that could take more than 110 damage next turn?
Mm-hmm. And looking at this list here, the answer is not a lot.
Yeah, he says, that was fine.
Yep. All right. And Andrew Mahone is our winner here at round 7 of the Collinsville Regional Championship, moving on to 7-0. Killing this event so far.
I know on the chat, there's a lot of Andrew Mahone fans out there.
A lot of them, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, for all those